Top Boy is great TV, but bad for the culture. And that is, and people can define what culture means, but that's been my position on Top Boy from the first time I saw it. I watched Top Boy when it was on Channel 4. I watched Top Boy the first season, it was on Netflix, and then I stopped, so I've not seen the latest season on Netflix. And look, when we discussed this, we were talking about the best black films of all time, and we kind of went into a discussion around depiction of black people across film and drama. And I said that I don't, and I won't watch Top Boy. And it caused a lot of discussion amongst the comments. Half the people were coming at me and saying, you know, you should support it. It's really good. Other people were saying they agreed and they don't or will not watch it anymore. And I want to say, first of all, congratulations to Top Boy for winning their 2 BAFTAs. I don't have any ill will towards the programme, the makers, or anybody connected with the programme. My only issue with Top Boy was, and it's the same, it's that I would like to see a wider plethora of programming with people that look like me in them. Now, and I want to quote, I want to shout out the comedian Travis J, who's a pal of mine, who rightfully in the comments replied with a list of programs where there is a bit more diversity and a wider spread of black, and in particular dark-skinned black actresses and actors. I think that's important as well. One being Dreaming Mask Black. And I want to big up Ajani Salman, who created and stars in that. So there are examples of other programs that do well. I just want more, and I think we should have more. And I feel like, and I hope the TV industry and those that are making and pitching programs are pitching a wider range of programming for us to enjoy.
What would you say to those people who say that if it were the other way around and we had the plethora of those productions with those individuals in them, we would all be calling for something that shows the grim reality on the road, on the streets?
So there's a really good, well, first of all, I would say that we've had those programs for a decade now, but also there's a really good, there's a good article in the Guardian this morning, I've forgotten the writer's name, forgive me, who basically says that he sensed the snobbery from the BAFTAs regarding awarding Top Boy those 2 awards. And his argument in the piece is that it does depict a reality of what's happening in this country, where black people reside and frequent, and that reality should be shown. You know, why is it any different to The Crown and other programs that depict other communities' realities? Fine, but my thing is, I'll go back to my initial point. I just want to see more, a wider spread of programming. And people talk about, oh yeah, but that's a reality that's happening in the UK. It is, but why has that got to be the forefront of what we are showing, producing and televising? Why? Why has that got to be the biggest program? The biggest program with a black cast in it in this country probably is Top Boy, if I can't think of anything else. Why is the biggest program on British TV with a black cast? That for me is a bit concerning.
But people,
even though it is real, I've never denied that is a reality of what's happening. My only rebuttal, my only challenge is there are other realities happening as well. There are other stories to be told as well. Let's tell those stories too.
Would some people look and say, well, hang on, we've had comedy, we've had Desmond's, we've had the Fosters.
Hasn't got to be comedy.
Real McCoy.
Hasn't got to be comedy.
What does it have to be?
Why can't we see sci-fi? Why can't we see love stories? Why can't we see animation? Why can't we see other forms of television?
Listen, I'm being deliberately...
No, I know you are. Why can't we see soaps?
Yeah.
Why is the only thing we can see is dramas with black boys shotting on the block?
But then are we making those things?
Well, this is why I call on the TV industry, because I believe those pictures are going in. I just think the TV industry thinks that that's what people want to see. Yes. No. That's what white England wants to see. Oh, those black boys in Hackney and in Toxteth and in
Cheetham Hill.
Doing a bit of dealing and a bit of fighting. I don't want to see that. No, black people that I know in the main don't want to see that. Because a lot of black people that I know have lived that. They know that. They know it happens. No one's denying that it happens. I'm not even denying Top Boy's right to exist. I'm just asking for a wider group. Can we just get a pizza that's got more than just chicken on it. Can I get a bit of pineapple? Can I get a little onion? Can I get a little tomato? Can I get a variety on my pizza, please? I don't want just chicken on my pizza. So I'm not saying Top Boy. And the other argument, just I know we've got to move on, is people say to me, oh yeah, but Top Boy offers a lot of employment to black creatives, which it does. It does. I know for a fact a lot of the cast, a lot of the crew are black. So there's employment there for black creatives. I'm fine with that. I'm not anti Top Boy. I'm just pro a variety of other types of programming.
Yeah, and I think it's a very relevant debate.
So congratulations to them, but I just want more
variety.
Just to give me a variety, man.
Now I'm watching The Gentleman, which has got a fantastic ensemble cast. Vinnie Jones is in it, Ray Winstone's in it. It's set in a country estate, but it's got underneath the country estate, it's got a farm producing exotic products, shall we say. And there are lots of twists and turns within it.
Is it good?
It's a Guy Ritchie production.
Yes.
It's very well put together. But obviously, if you're watching this and you were going to recommend a box set to me, because I finished it now and I don't know what I need to watch. So if you're going to recommend something to me, get them in by all means. What's the other thing we're going to discuss on the show tonight?
Let's talk a little bit about Baby Reindeer.
Baby Reindeer is a very interesting one for me.
This is your talk, me or talk, by the way.
This is indeed, yeah. I think we share this, don't we? Because I've just been very uncomfortable with the idea of allowing a platform to somebody who has allegedly made the life of somebody else a nightmare. And I do wonder whether we would have given that platform to a man who had made a woman's life a misery.
I hadn't thought of that. I think the answer is no. I'm going to go with no. Baby Reindeer, I finished watching this last week, and for those that haven't seen it, it's an interesting watch. It's at times a very difficult watch. It gets quite very dark. But I think what it started off as a man trying to show the world that men can be stalked too, and their lives can be ripped apart by it as well, which is a genuine life experience to want to depict, has turned into so much more than that now. There's questions around, I don't want to do any spoilers, but 3 or 4, it takes a dark turn. So that brings up issues around that. It brings up issues that you've just flagged that I hadn't even thought of that angle, in terms of why are we giving air to a woman who allegedly stalked a man and made a man's life hell, and would that be the same if it's the other way around? And then it comes to one thing I was interested in was also, why did Richard Gadd, I think his name is, the comic, why would he want to play himself in this?
Well, there might be a catharsis in that. I don't really have any issue with him playing himself in it, because I think psychologically there might be some kind of release. If you go through a difficult exercise, a difficult experience, there might be a variety of ways that you can get the closure of being able to go through it again, but on your terms, and there could be an element of control in that. I don't think there's any culpability on his part. And I think part of what has made me so uncomfortable about the whole process last week, the week in which the alleged identity of the woman behind it was put into the public domain, was that it did unleash perspectives and views that I felt quite uncomfortable with. I don't have any personal truck with the individuals who managed to sit down with the person, because they okay, but that is what they do, and we live in a world where people go hunting around for stuff like that. But I do have a general issue with putting people who appear, in my opinion, vulnerable to air. I think that there are difficulties around that don't sit well with me, and I just think that we live in a very cynical world, a very horrible world in some respects, and I just think that targeting somebody who's been through such an incredible trauma. And you're right, the series is incredible. That's the only word. I don't want to say entertaining, because I don't get any entertainment about someone reliving a nightmare. But I do think that the idea that you would attack that person for telling a truth, which is that it isn't men get stalked too, it's that men have been stalked for a long time, but there's been a greater spotlight on it being the other way around, and men being seen to be the threat. And there'll be lots of men who will identify with that. My worry with that would they be more reticent to come out when they see the way that the guy who's told his story is being attacked? There's so many levels of uncomfortable around this that just left me wanting to talk about it on here.
Yeah, I think my kind of brief and final point would be, like, if what he is saying is true, and that the story is a complete.
Why'd you say if?
Because there's been reports that parts of it are exaggerated.
It's his truth, and also it's fiction. So we watch a million things they give us the rider, as he did, based on a true story, which means that you have to embellish elements to actually.
No, but some people are questioning whether some parts are even true.
Yeah, but I listen. I think any true story you ever see on TV contains elements that aren't true, because essentially, if you were to put the real truth, it's a bit like a press conference. When I go to a press conference, I tell you everything that happened in a press conference. There are some very boring bits in that press conference, and really, what happens is it goes through a process to make it palatable to be consumed.
Out the bits that are just a bit not interesting. I'm talking about people are questioning some of the things that happen in it. Did they actually happen? I'm talking about embellishing or dramatizing. But my point being, if it's a total and accurate depiction of his experience and what actually happened, I hope it doesn't put anybody off seeking help or going to authorities that feel like my life is being ruined by this. Because there's definitely a kind of masculine element to not wanting to say that a woman has been following me because of the ridicule that comes with that, and men can't be abused, men can't be followed, just deal with it, man up, all of that. So I hope that doesn't. I hope that this does the opposite. I hope it makes men who are struggling feel like I have to speak out about this. The woman in question, and whether whether she's questioning, the woman that we've seen on Piers Morgan's show anyway. There's been questions about.
We were going to get through this without naming him.
No, I think we've got to name him though, because I know there's thoughts about him and what he's doing, which we'll leave to one side. But I think the woman that features on his program, there's doubts around the validity in her account, and she denies everything, and it's just all messy. It's all really, really messy, and I think we're getting away from the problem. The problem is person A, whoever that is, has made persons B's life a mess, and that needs to be addressed. How it's been addressed has been a bit crude.
If you've been affected by any of the themes that we're talking about, obviously please do get help. We're men, but we need to speak. We need to be honest, confront our vulnerabilities, and I think if there was something good that came out of it, it was the willingness of the person at the centre of the series to be honest and open about how he was feeling, so that he could get some closure.